I'm Susan. Welcome to Tea and Games. Oh, my glasses just fogged up. The tea today is Scottish breakfast because I'm just really sleepy. This is a 12-ounce mug, and this is my second mug. The first mug was Builders, and I thought, wow, that's really not cutting it. I'm just going to fall asleep face first in front of the camera. So we're doing Builders now in the hopes that I'll stay awake for the video I'm making. Anyhow, we played a lot of games this weekend, though the game playing unusually actually started before the weekend. Because I had ordered a couple of games and they came in on Monday. And so Monday night we played, and that was a week ago today, we played Take 5. You may notice this box looks a little different. This is the big box. This is the 30th anniversary edition. I'd never played Take 5 before, and it's all down to Rolling Reggie, and I'll put a link to his channel, which is a very good board game channel, below, because he commented on one of my videos about card games for large numbers of people. He suggested in comments Take 5 and said he had just picked up the 30th anniversary edition, which I didn't. Take 5 is also known as Six Nimmt. That's the German title, which means 6 takes. And so Take 5. And you might say, but 5 and 6 are not the same number. Well, what it is when whoever puts the 6 card down takes the 5 in front of it. So 6 takes, but the number of cards you take is actually 5. So we got this game. This game is super simple to teach. I mean, if you want a card game that literally anybody can play, if they can put numbers in order sequentially, like know what number is higher than another number, that's really all you need to know to play this game. It is super, super simple because you're just putting cards into rows. And this game is a lot of fun, but I cannot imagine this game at 10 players because it's kind of crazy enough with 2 or 3. The first game we played Monday night, Robert beat me by 50 points. I mean, I just could not get it. I mean, it's got a lot of luck in it because to the extent that you have to work with the hand that you draw. And sometimes the hand that you draw does not work well with what's laid out there. We played it again this past weekend, and I got a hand that was just really weighted toward low cards with one very high card, the 104, which is the top card. And none of those cards were what I needed to play down, which meant I took a lot of rows. But this is a really fun game. It is super, super easy to teach. And it's one of those kind of crazy games where if you know what you're doing, theoretically, you can stick it to your neighbor. But the luck of the draw works is such that, and the number of players going around the table, it doesn't always work out that way. Yeah, we are enjoying this. We like it, and I want to play it at a lot of different player counts. We first played it on Monday with 2 players, and we played it again on Sunday with 3 players, which was also really interesting. Then another game I got in that same box. Oh, yes, and something about wait a minute, I'm not through with Take 5 here. Set this right here. The 30th anniversary edition, something you should know about it, it comes with extra cards. See, these are like the regular cards. They've got bullheads on them, and the bullheads, the number of bullheads up here is the number of points you take when you take cards, not like the number printed on the card. But it comes with a whole bunch of extra cards for variations on it, including a co-op version. And I believe, if I am remembering correctly, check the handy dandy book here. Yes, special fan cards. Some of these cards, at least, are fan-made variation. There are 4 variations plus the co-op version. So that means that if you're super familiar with Take 5 already, the 30th anniversary edition still has some new and interesting stuff for you, perhaps, because it's got a handful of variations and even a co-op version, which we have not yet tried, and which perhaps we should try, considering how staggeringly bad I am at this game. But yeah, that looks like that's going to be a lot of fun with all of the variations and things. So we played that on Monday, and then on Wednesday, I don't remember what happened Tuesday night, but on Wednesday, we finally played our first game of Floriferous. I finally got Floriferous. Yeah, that stacked up too high. Let me see here. Yeah. Scooch it in closer to the camera. I'm hitting the Doomlings again. I've got the stack of Doomlings here, which I'll get to in a minute, why they're in a stack. So we finally got Floriferous. I am going to now state a highly unpopular opinion, so brace yourself. We played this game, and this game is just super meh. I mean, don't get me wrong, this game is beautiful. If you want to lay beautiful cards out on the table, this game works because it's got like this tableau thing and you are laying pretty cards out on the table. But yeah, Robert liked it. He thought it was okay. Did not knock his socks off. I thought the game was just very flat and meh. It could be because we were playing it at 2 players, but I don't know. The gameplay just really didn't grab me. And it struck me as being unusually fiddly for a game that is so fast and light, because you have to do the game setup completely from scratch with every round. And I just kind of thought, I mean, I don't know, maybe if the gameplay had grabbed me more, that wouldn't have even struck me. But yeah, this game just, it's okay. I think that we will probably play it sometime again. But, you know, I'm looking at this and I'm going like, oh, wow, this game is just nowhere near as good as Herbaceous. And that's what's so staggering. Because, see, Robert and I love Herbaceous. That is a game that we definitely like. We're never going to say no to a game of Herbaceous. And this is kind of its companion game. And watching videos, everybody talks about Floriferous. We played Floriferous. Floriferous is such a great game. This is an amazing game, they all say. And they're like, Floriferous, 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 and they can't even say it, and neither can I. But nobody talks about Herbaceous, except, of course, to point out that, oddly enough, for a game about culinary herbs, and I do have the spice pack for that too, it doesn't have basil in it, which is definitely a downside for Herbaceous. But nobody talks about Herbaceous. Everybody talks about Floriferous. Floriferous is a beautiful, wonderful game, and Robert and I just found it beautiful, but not so wonderful. Just okay. It's fine. It's okay. I mean, it is not a bad game. It is absolutely not at all a bad game. Whether I would say it's a good game, I don't know. It's an okay game. But Herbaceous is a good game. That is a good game, and we're going to play that all the time. This one is not going to get nearly as much play. And I know a lot of people like this game. It's like every video I've seen from a content creator that has any pencil first games, they go, Floriferous, it's such a great game. It's amazing. We love it so much. Everybody we've taught it to loves it so much. I don't know. It's just something about the gameplay just didn't really grab us. Me even more so than Robert, because Robert is extremely tolerant. A game has to be staggeringly bad before he goes, He is in a keep or cull situation. He is always for keeping. I think he thinks that somehow the game will get better, you know, when we're talking about, should we keep a game or should we get rid of it? He's going like, let's keep it. Let's keep playing it. Maybe someday we will like it. So we have games that neither one of us are that crazy about that we don't get rid of because Robert wants to keep it just in case the game magically becomes very, very good. But you know, there are games that after one or two plays, I thought, no, I'm not really crazy about this. And then we played it more and it grew on me. And so there is still the chance that I'm not one of these people that on first play, I'm going to love this game, because I just did not. But there's always a chance that if we keep it and if we continue to play it sometime, though, of course, if we're grabbing a game like this, we're always going to grab Herbaceous, because it's just both of us think it's a better game. So I don't know. I think if we keep playing it, maybe it will not be as meh. I don't know. But we're keeping it because we've only played it a couple of times. And it does play super, super fast. So that brings us to the weekend. And I'm going to call this video Living for the Weekend. So I'd like to talk a little bit about weekends. We play a lot of games on the weekend. My husband Robert and I are casual weekend board gamers, and he is my primary board game partner, though we do play with other people sometimes, and we usually play games on weekends. Game nights have never been a thing. I mean, it just seems like everybody is just too wiped out at the end of a workday to want to just get up and go somewhere and play a game for a game night. I don't think anybody's going to be terribly enthusiastic about a weeknight game night. Besides, it limits the length of the games that you can play, or how many games that you can play, because people say, well, I got to get up and go to work in the morning, so, and Robert and I are looking at each other and we're going like, it's a work day, so, but it's like, it's a weekend day. So game nights on weeknights have never really been a thing, but weekends, most people we know, we have a hard time getting together with them for game days on weekends, because that's when they run errands and do chores. And anything that they need to do around the house, it's all stacked up on the weekend. And so you've got to kind of like book it a month in advance in order to kind of get on their schedule to play games. But with us, we used to do that whole run errands, do chores and stuff around the house on weekends thing. But gradually we started shifting to where we want to have fun on the weekends. So we've started kind of making it a point, and I don't remember when we started doing this, but more and more as time went on over the years, we started trying to, if there's things that we need to do on the weekend, instead of stacking up a whole bunch of little things we need to do on the weekend, and that ends up sucking up the entire day, we will just try to squeeze in all of those little things that we would normally be doing on the weekend, just do one here, one there throughout the week, so that when the weekend comes, it might be a totally open and free weekend with no things we have to do kind of thing, or it could be, we have things we have to do on the weekend, like I'm planting stuff in the garden or doing stuff, or other things besides games, but they're fun stuff. They're recreational, hobby-oriented things. But it's just that if you squeeze in as many things as you can, just look at all those things that you normally do on the weekend and say, could I do any of those at some time, anytime during the week as the week is going on? Then that's one less thing that you have to do on the weekend. And your time on the weekend just doesn't keep getting whittled away by things that are not recreational things. Because I'm just still a lot of people that their weekends are not really devoted to recreational things. Their weekends are devoted to all those things they feel like they have to do, got boxes to check, things to do that they didn't do during the week. And sometimes, if it's a big project, and there are some weekends where there are just certain things where there's just no way we're going to have that chunk of time at any point during the week. It's like, not in this lifetime. To be able to do that, so they have to be done on the weekend. But if we can, we just kind of try to find a way to work in some of those things. Don't put off stuff till the weekend to be done. Do it now, so that way on the weekend we can play games. So this weekend, what did we play? Well, on Saturday we took another run at Floriferous, and I did like it better on the second play, but it's still kind of meh. And then we played another game of Take 5. and I didn't do nearly as badly this time. Actually, I might have won that one. I don't remember. But it was closer. I think I still lost, but it was closer. So we did make another run at those on Saturday morning. And then we took up Liberation again. This is the little button shy game where it's Liberation versus Dynasty, and you lay out these cards which are double-sided and you can rotate them, and they've got roots that all connect, and you lay out the 4 cards so that you make a different planetary system with different connections in every game. We played this the weekend before, and we liked it. We were not expecting to like this, but we liked it a lot. It's got kind of a hide and seek movement where Dynasty is trying to find the Liberation base, and the Liberation has to remain hidden and not attacked or found for 3 rounds. Which is, you think 3 rounds is not very much. This is an 18-card game. 3 rounds is a lot. Because it's very tricky. But this weekend, we did the 2 expansions. We did the Moon of Mystery expansion. We did a couple of, we played a couple of games with the Moon of Mystery expansion, and this has nothing to do with this expansion. It has everything to do with just the cards that we were dealt and how we played them. But the moon in this is a 2-card expansion where you've got 1 new moon, which is not substituted in. It's connected. It starts turned over and then you connect it in, and it's got a city card that corresponds to it that activates it. But we never saw how this worked in either of the 2 games because just the luck of the draw, the games were over super fast. Just like I lost almost instantly. As quickly as you can lose a game of Liberation, I lost both of those, playing as the Liberation front. Yeah, my people are just not going to be liberated anytime soon. And we also played Warped World, which worked really nicely. Warped World has several cards. You have another map card, which you will swap in for any one of the other map cards. So, and this will form new connections, and then you will sub in the corresponding city cards and remove the city cards for the one that you subbed it for. And it played really well. We liked it a lot too. It just kind of gave us all the great feels of Liberation. I don't know what the dealio was, but that first game, Robert just kind of like the first time he attacked me, boom, I was out. Second game, first time he attacked me, boom. It's like he attacked as soon as he could, and then boom, I was out. It's like he read my mind and knew where my secret base was. So we need to play Moon of Mystery more so we can see how the actual moon works before everybody gets like overrun by the dynasty. So yeah, Liberation. This button shy game, it tends to, people love this game, and I can see now why. This game, it tends to be in print, and then all of the copies are sold, and then it goes out of print for a while, and eventually it will probably come back into print because it's very popular, but you may have to wait a while to get a hold of it because it is not always available. So if you see Liberation and a hide and seek kind of game appeals to you, that might be one to look for. I think if you've already got the game, I think the expansions may still be in print. So we played those. We also played Trekking the World, which this is the first edition. The second edition was a Kickstarter earlier this year, which I was very pleased about what they said, the changes they made in the game. They gave it a thorough and complete overhaul, and I think we'll like the new edition. Ultimately, I decided not to drop my hand in front of the title. Ultimately, I decided not to back the Kickstarter because, I don't know, I don't enjoy the Kickstarter thing, just that whole thing, very much. If I can get a game retail and there's not something I really want in the Kickstarter, I may let it go by. which I did with Let's Go to Japan, because I was perfectly happy getting the retail version, and I will be perfectly happy getting the retail second edition of this. But we played this, and we do enjoy the first edition. It plays really fast at 2 players. And I won that one, I believe, if I remember correctly. And then we played another game of Doomlings. We are still playing Doomlings. We have the Overlush expansion that we play, just keep it rolled in at this point. Doomlings is another one of those card games that plays a bunch of players, that's fast and fun, and has a ton of cards. Shuffling this thing is like, you gotta like factor in time for shuffling a massive deck. Take 5, I mentioned earlier, it plays up to 10. Doomlings plays 2 to 6, so not quite as many players. Though, you know, I'm kind of looking at this, and as you keep rolling in expansions, I'm thinking, couldn't that player count be scooched up a bit? I'm not sure about that, but it kind of makes me wonder about the player count on this, because this is such a huge deck of cards. Of course, I haven't played it with 6 yet. I played it with 4 or 5, but I don't think I've maxed out player count on it yet. But we do enjoy Doomlings a lot. I've tried to figure out why I like this game, but I don't know. I just do. It's very light card game. And you may wonder why Take 5 is not in its Take 5 box, and why Doomlings is just this massive stack of cards here. And that's because both of these are kept in quiver cases. You may notice I pluralized that. Yeah, I got another. It's not a full quiver, it's a bolt. I may have to do something, because we've just got so many card games. And card games are portable, and quiver cases make them portable. And I had just been keeping them card games in deck boxes, and then just like grabbing a deck box and dropping it into my purse. The quiver case are not quite as grab and go as that, but I found that I was forgetting to grab the deck boxes anyway half the time, so I don't know. The quiver cases are at least more conspicuous, so I won't forget them. And that was Saturday. Floriferous, Take 5, Liberation, a few games of that, Trekking the World, and Doomlings. Then on Sunday, we played, hang on, I still didn't get the box, Creature Comforts. And you're going, wait a minute, that's a fall game, a winter game. It is a cozy, snug, preparing for the winter sort of game. Yeah, and that's why we're playing it right now. We actually ended up not intending to, but doing kind of a winter thing on Sunday. Creature Comforts, some of you that have seen some of the recent videos may remember that it was on Robert's list for this summer, even though it is a fall to winter game. Because we made a list, each of us, 5 games that we wanted to play over the summer. These are not games from our unplayed game shelf. Those games are mostly games that have to have a really higher player count and that we have a hard time getting people together for, or legacy or campaign. So other than that, our unplayed game shelf is pretty clear. But we just made 5 games that we just don't get to the table as often as we like. Trekking the World was number 1 on Robert's list. But also on his list was Creature Comforts, because the thing is, we really like this game, but we only play it in the fall. And another game that was in Robert's 5 had the same rationale. We recently played Horrified because Robert feels like, because we love those old monster movies, the Universal Monsters, the original Horrified game, we like them. And he felt like they shouldn't just be for spooky season, the Horrified game. So we recently played Horrified, and so we're playing another fall kind of game here because it was on Robert's list. And you're going like, yeah, you've done a few off of his 5. How are we doing on that? And how we are doing is we have now played 4 of the 5 games that Robert said he wanted to play this summer. How many of the games that I said I wanted to play this summer have we played? 1. Now, mind you, he is not pushing like his games. I'm usually the one that selects the games to play on any given weekend. And the reason why the games on his list are getting played before the 5 on my list is just playtime. Because all of the games on his list are really easy to table except for 1. And all of the games on my list are much harder to table except for 1. And that was Space Explorers, which we have played. So we're playing all of the games that take the least amount of time. Oh, I need to wet my whistle here a little. So we've played 4 of his 5. And we've played 1 of my 5. And we have 1 crossover. Robinson Crusoe is on both of our lists. So I don't know, I'm thinking. But you know, it kind of depends upon whether or not we have a good block of time. Sometimes because we're doing things with other people, non-game things. We've got Starfinder, I think, coming up next weekend. Sometimes we have to do smaller games on weekends because we have to fit them around other activities like a family activity or Starfinder, which is a role-playing game. So sometimes we don't table big games because we are doing other fun stuff. Not doing chores, but doing other fun stuff. But yeah, I'm thinking Robinson Crusoe might be the next one we table again because it's on both of our lists, and that would finish off his 5 for the summer and be 2 of the 3 of mine. And I don't think that we're going to make it through that list because I stacked it up with some really long games. So after we played Creature Comforts, our nephew came over and we taught him Skull Canyon Ski Fest. Did I just knock something over? No, I didn't. Okay. We taught him Skull Canyon Ski Fest, which is, again, kind of an odd game for August. But on the other hand, it is so hot here. We are in Texas. For those of you who don't know, like you haven't picked it up from other videos you've seen, we're in Texas. Texas in August there are actually memes that categorize Texas in August as hell. So it's hot. It's really hot. And if you live somewhere where it's really hot, and this is August, which is usually the hottest month unless you're in the Southern Hemisphere. Hello to all of those folks in the Southern Hemisphere. Because they're in, let's see, this is summer, they're in winter. But I would recommend perusing your shelves and thinking about what's the snowiest game that you've got. We actually have 2 games with snow. We have this and we have the winter edition of Carcassonne. But we taught him Skull Canyon Ski Fest. The original idea was my brother-in-law wants to learn this game, but he ended up having to work this weekend. And my niece was feeling a little under the weather, so yeah, she had a long day. So my nephew came over and we taught him Skull Canyon Ski Fest. So then when we get together with the rest of the family, there will be fewer people who are learning the game for the first time. So that's not a bad thing. But we had a lot of fun playing this. My nephew just kept throwing the Yeti at us. I mean, no matter where we went, the Yeti was either in our path or double Yetis were causing avalanches. He did not use the explosives. Oh, the game is rattling. But yeah, it's like he leveraged the Yetis in the game to maximum effect. There were a couple of turns I took where I could not make any progress whatsoever because the turn order was such, he avalanched everybody and I got hit by the avalanche, which knocked me back. And so it's like, I take the ski lift up and then the avalanche brings me back. I take the ski lift up and the avalanche flocks me back. Had a couple of turns like that, so it was memorable. And we discovered about halfway through the first day, because this thing is played over 3 days in the game. over 3 days in the game, like making weird hand signs here. I discovered about the middle of the first day that he was using Yetis incorrectly. Not in terms of making avalanches, but in terms of using them as a wild card. So he actually got a couple of ski runs that he probably should not have gotten, at least not that early in the game. So we played the rest of the game out like that. He did win, but that's okay, because the whole point is having fun. And we were having a lot of fun skiing our ski slopes with our little skiers and taking the ski lift and avalanches and Yetis and buying gear. Yeah, we had a lot of fun with this. This is one of those games that the first couple of times I played it, I was like, yeah, it's okay, but it just seems a little flat. There's something about the gameplay that just, I don't know. And then we played it again, and I'm like going, this is really good. This is fun. So, yeah, if a game doesn't hit, it's worth playing again, because there are games in our collection that we like. I'm not going to say this is not the greatest game of all time, but this is a lot of fun, and as a family weight game, I think it's really good. So yeah, and I would definitely recommend it if you are living someplace that's very, very hot and you just want to look at a board covered with snow. And you see there are skiers and snowboarders on the cover. The little figures that you use, there are 2 of them that are skiers and 2 of them that are snowboarders. I think Robert and I took skier figures and my nephew took a snowboarder figure. So, I mean, if you've got people that are not in your group that are not into skiing but think snowboarding is cool, it could be a snowboarding game, not just a ski game. So, yeah, of the games played this weekend, we had a pretty even thing on wins and losses. I won 4 of the 9 games we played. Robert won 4 of the 9 games we played. And the nephew won 1 of the 2 games we played, because he also we played Take 5 before Skull Canyon Ski Fest. He did not win that. I lost it and Robert won it. Robert won that game that was 3-player on Sunday. But yeah, so he won. I was the one that lost and that did the game-ending total, and my nephew came in right in between us on that one. We had a really fun weekend. We played a lot of really good stuff. Like I said, maybe not no heavy euros in this thing, but family weight game. Trekking the World is a family weight game. Creature Comforts is a family weight game. Skull Canyon Ski Fest, Floriferous, Take 5, definitely Doomlings. Liberation, I don't know if you would call it family weight. I don't tend to think of button shy games in terms of light, mid-weight, family weight, though some are definitely lighter than others. I would say this one is probably maybe more of a mid-weight button shy game. It's 2-player only, so that's another reason why I don't tend to think of it in terms of family, though Robert and I are a family group of 2. But yeah, there's a lot of, and Doomlings. Doomlings is definitely family weight. The little Doomlings, oh look, a dominant trait card. I think I've been thinking about that because I stumbled onto a website that has Doomling play mats, and I really love the artwork, but we already have a card mat, so I don't see any point in getting Doomling mats except that they're really pretty. So I think because I stumbled across those, that has put Doomlings into my mind more. Ooh, shiny. I do have some foils in here. They're very nice. There are more foils in the Overlush expansion. But it's been fun sitting here talking to you, and I didn't fall asleep. I didn't fall asleep. I guess the Scottish breakfast, which I have barely drunk during this, has kicked in. I hope y'all have a good week, had a good weekend, and I hope that this coming weekend is a fun weekend for you, filled with lots and lots of games. And I appreciate those of you who have followed me over to Blue Sky, the social network, and I will point out that the link for my profile in Blue Sky is on my YouTube profile, and also a link to the starter pack, which will just kind of give you a leg up in finding board gamers on Blue Sky. And I will swap some of those around a little bit as time, because they have a limit on how many people I can put in there as suggested accounts. But yeah, it was a great weekend. And I will see y'all next time round the table. Bye.